my name is Natalia Marin, and this is my Teach Us video number 4. Number 1, we have asked that you complete this assignment before reviewing any peers' assignments. Therefore, we're also asking that you acknowledge that this assignment was done first and is your own work. I acknowledge that this assignment is done first and it is my own work. Alright, to begin this project, it says share your experience around food insecurity while attending college. Has food insecurity been a barrier for you while going to school? Share how the pandemic has affected your relationship with food. What resources could help you around food insecurity? Basically, in DOK2, we ask if you expect food insecurity to be associated with a lower GPA among first-year students. Has your opinion changed? Well, basically, I have been living by myself since I started attending college, and I'm blessed to say I have not been in a situation where I needed food. Of course, I have needed money, but never food. I am so lucky to say I have received help from Sacramento City College every Tuesday, or not every Tuesday, but on Tuesdays they had food banks and stuff, so I was able to benefit from that when I needed it. I was also able to work to maintain my rent and pay utilities in order to also have food, basically. The pandemic never affected my relationship with food. I never went crazy shopping thinking I was going to run out of food, nor panic about food manners or anything. In regards to the question if you expect food insecurity to be associated with a lower GPA among first-year students, has your opinion changed? My answer is yes. Because food is the biggest necessity that we have. And if we're struggling with it, I imagine everything else will fall apart somehow. Because not having money to have food means you don't have money for anything else. Since food is the most important thing, to be honest. Alright. Following this project, it says justify why this is a chi-square test of independence. This is a test of independence because it is examining the relationship between categorical variables to find out if they are independent. In one place, we have the explanatory variable, which is the food insecurity, and in the other, we have the response variable, which is the GPA of first-year students. Food insecurity has two values, which is food secure or food insecure. And then the GPA has 4 values, which is under 2.5, between 2.5 and 2.99, between 3 and 3.49, and between 3.5 and 4. Now, using a level of significance of 0.05, determine if there is a relationship between food insecurity and GPA. During your explanation, keep in mind that your audience has only some exposure to doing a hypothesis test, and be sure to explain the following steps in detail. A. State the null and alternative hypotheses. The null hypothesis is basically the one that has no relationship between food insecurity and the student's GPA. The alternative hypothesis would be if there is a relationship between food insecurity and student's GPA. State conditions and demonstrate how to verify the conditions without GeoGebra. Well, without GeoGebra, first we have to make sure that we do the random counts, and they must be greater or equal to 5. To continue, the expected counts basically allows us to know and learn what we will expect from a true null hypothesis. And when there's no relationship between the two variables, once again, in this case, food insecurity and GPA. Here we have the way I kind of figured this out. It was making the table, making sure we have our variables, which it was the GPA and the food security or insecurity, and the totals on the right side on the bottom. So for GPA below 2.5, for security would be 34.82. Food insecurity would be 8.18. The GPA that falls between 2.5 and 2.89 for security would be 100.54, and food insecurity 23.46. GPA that falls between 3 and 3.49 for food insecurity is 46.79, and food security is 189.21. And the GPA 3.5 and 4, food security is 342.55, and food insecurity is 80.45. The totals just show us that there is a difference and there is a relationship. To demonstrate how to use it on GeoGebra, I took the screenshot. Basically, we just have to follow a few simple steps. We gotta make sure we're on the statistics, and we go and click on probability, right? Because this is the probability of having a GPA higher or lower. Then we go on the stats tab and we will click on the chi-square. Sorry, I am not sure how to pronounce that. And then we go on to select the number of rows and the number of columns. In this case, we have the two rows, which is food security and food insecurity, and the columns, the GPA, the different GPAs. And then on GeoGebra, it's not gonna come out automatically. It's not gonna come out as an expected count. So we gotta make sure we click on these over here on expected count. Okay, once again, statistics, we go on probability, we do the chi-square and then the rows, the columns, click on the expected count to get what we need to get right here on the table. To continue, verify the conditions. Well, conditions are met because expected counts and random sample are greater or equal to 5. Determine the test statistics. Basically, the result is x x to the second x. Sorry for. Let me make sure. X to the elevated. However, this right here equals 13.85. Then it shows determine the p-value. The p-value is 0.0031. Then make a decision based on the level of significance. The level of significance is 0.05. Therefore, the null hypothesis is going to be rejected and the alternative hypothesis will be accepted. Why? And the answer is going to be written in the conclusion. Because the distinctions between the table and the expected counts are significant. Therefore, we can reject the null hypothesis and thus accept the alternative hypothesis. We also conclude that the variables are dependent since there is a relationship between food insecurity and first-year students' GPA. All right, continue with point 5. Based on the results of this test, should there be an argument to colleges about having more resources, aiding in reducing food insecurity? Explain with examples of potential resources. Yes, there should be extra resources to help those who are suffering food insecurity issues. And after seeing Sac City College's Call Fresh program, I think we can always add more resources to help students and their families. Food insecurity touches upon so many aspects of our lives. Knowing that when statistics is done correctly, it is a powerful tool that we all can and should access. We wanted to leave our statistics course with the ability to use the methods and terminology for collecting, analyzing, interpreting, and presenting empirical data to tell the stories we are responsible for sharing. Thinking of your personal experiences or experiences of different communities around food insecurity, what is another chi-square test of independence that you are interested in conducting? No need to have data for the two-way table, but be sure to explain the variables you're using and how they would be categorized. For instance, in our problem we have two groups, food insecurity and food secure, that are broken down into 4 categories based on a GPA. Well, the one that's the easiest, basically, or what comes to my mind first, would be linked to the employment of the student. Therefore, another chi-square test of independence is to examine the relationship between food insecurity and students' jobs. The explanatory variable in this case would be basically divided in two. If it's the student has a part-time job or a full-time job. The response variable would be once again food insecure or food secure. Explain why we should be interested in your relationship and the implications the relationship could have. The biggest deal here comes for students that live by themselves, in my opinion, without any help and with multiple part-time jobs in order to survive, because that's what we do. We just survive to be able to keep going and keep reaching the goals that we need to reach to be able to keep surviving. Like myself in this case, having a full-time job may imply food security or may not, because once again, you can have a full-time job, but if you are getting paid minimum wage, is basically trash living in California. However, having a part-time job definitely could cause an increased level of food insecurity among students, because once again, a part-time job doesn't really come with benefits, and they're usually also minimum wage. Specifically among students that have only their income to pay for rent and all kinds of bills, food, etc. And that's it. I hope you guys like the presentation. I am very congested right now. I have a lot of allergies, and that's it. And I'm exhausted. I hope you guys have a great ending of the semester and a great summer.